In the world of entrepreneurship, the dream of building an empire of wealth through your business is a goal that many aspire to achieve. While it may seem like a daunting task, with the right mindset, strategies, and dedication, it's a goal that can be within your reach. Well, before we actually introduce our guests, let me introduce myself. My name is Rayson, and I'm your host for the Legacy Show. And in this episode, we've invited an inspiring entrepreneur. And this man over here has inspired me a lot because when I went to Millionaire Mind Intensive back in 2018, 2017, I got to see him. I got to learn from him. And man, this amazing entrepreneur. His name is none other than Mac Attram. So Mac is the founder and CEO of MindSpace Coaching, a leading business growth expert and sought after business coach for busy entrepreneurs. He is famous for helping business owners rapidly increase their sales revenues between 20% to 100% in less than a year, as well as implementing better processes and building winning business teams so that they can have more time off to enjoy their lives. He is the author of 4 best-selling books, all available on Amazon. He's an entrepreneur who has developed and sold several profitable companies. He's also a multi-award winning business coach and has been featured as an expert advisor in TV, newspapers, and magazines such as Forbes and CNBC. Well, without further ado, let's welcome Mac into the podcast. Woohoo! All
What a
right.
lovely introduction. Thank you, Rayson. What? Mate, I'm listening and thinking, is that me? Well, thank you for your introduction. Good to catch up with you again.
Oh, you're most welcome. And yes, it's good to catch up with you again. I've been watching you on the stages, and I was like thinking, man, back then I did have that thought. I was like thinking, hey, what if I can actually get you on the podcast in the near future? And I was thinking when it could be, but just nice this year when I was browsing through Podmatch and I happened to see your profile and it's like, hey, this is like laws of attraction coming to me. But of course, it took me a few years to actually get you here. But I'm really honored to have you here on my podcast.
Thank you.
You're most welcome. How have you been, my friend?
Yeah, I've been very well. Just we're speaking at a time where we've just come back from our vacation. Myself and my wife and our 3 children. They're not children. They're big, big. My oldest is 22.
Oh, wow.
We just came from the Caribbean. We're in the Caribbean for 3 weeks, and then we flew into India. So we're in India for about a week and a half. So we had a nice break through the course of July and August. So that was really good. Now back to business.
Oh, nice. Yeah, yeah. Wow, amazing. I'm pretty sure, when you are, say, when your kids are growing older, you would definitely want to bring them to different places, let them
Mm,
experience beautiful kind of experiences in different countries and have different beautiful memories so that when they recall back and reflect about their lives with their parents, they'll be like, oh, wow, my dad has brought me to such nice places and given me so much amazing opportunities in my life as well. So yeah, I really love to have this kind of family as well because family is very important when it comes to building a business as well, especially the chemistry, the communication as well, which we're gonna talk a lot about it later on as well in terms of how to build your business up in a sense. So, uh, Meg, can
yeah.
you share with the audience a little bit more about who you are and what you do?
Right. Good question. So I think when people ask me that, I always start with family, like you just mentioned. I'm a family man. I am a man living on purpose to make a difference to others. I've been married to my amazing wife now for 23 years. We have 3 children: a 22-year-old girl, 18-year-old girl about to go to university. The first one's finished, and then a 16-year-old boy. And so I love being with my family. We love traveling. We love doing things together. But outside of that, I'm also an entrepreneur. I'm an investor. I invest in real estate property. I invest in businesses. And I'm an entrepreneur in terms of starting businesses. Like you said earlier, I've sold businesses. And for the past, where you know me from, for the past 18 years, I've now trained and coached over 200,000 people in over 50 countries to grow their business, to grow their wealth, to grow their money situation and income, and then grow themselves personally so they feel more fulfilled. And so, you know, like you said, I'm an author of 4 best-selling books, and I've won multiple awards as a coach, an entrepreneur, a trainer. And so, you know, in terms of vocation and work, that's what I've been doing.
Yeah, right. I mean, like, been following you for a while, watching how you have actually grown over the years, especially when you first started out with Millionaire Mind Intensive or T Half Hackers team, and then after that you branch out on your own as well. And man, it's really great to be able to see how someone who can actually create their own wealth and build their own empire within this period of time. Even though it sounds like it's super long, 18 years and more, but it is definitely something that I really believe you have, and that is passion and drive to actually become who you are and where you are today. And I'd like to ask you, right, we before we actually dive into the main focus of our interview, our all of us would want to know you a bit better. So
Hmm.
can you share with us like how you became an entrepreneur?
Oh,
Was
good.
it something that you always wanted to do?
Hmm. It's a good question, Rayson. How did I become an entrepreneur? Well, I was one of those I was one of those kids that parents said, go to school, study hard, get good grades, you know, and find a good secure job. You know, parents want you to be successful. All parents want that. And so
Right.
I followed that track. I ended up having an MBA, master's degree in business administration. I worked for various companies. Actually, I only worked for 3 companies. The first company took me as a graduate trainee, and I lasted 7 years with them, various positions. The second company, I lasted 2 years, Rayson. And then the last company I worked with over that 10-year period was I lasted 1 year. And I
Oh,
remember, because every time I changed, I thought, there's something, you know, maybe it's the job, maybe it's the company. I don't like the company, so I changed company. Then in that last 1 year, I realized it's not the companies, it's probably me. I wanted to do things on my own, and you know, myself and the regional manager would argue because I had better ideas to do it, and he wouldn't agree. And so I quit my job, and I started a small computer company, IT, one all-in-one internet shop kind of stuff. And so that's what happened. I had an argument with my with my boss. I realized that I didn't want to work there anymore. I realized I wanted to take my life into my own hands, and there I was. I started. That's how that came about.
oh wow. Then can you like bring us to the story of how you actually ended up with T Half Ecker and their team? Because
Yeah.
being an entrepreneur, I'm pretty sure you you probably found them or they found you during that process of building your own profile up in a sense, right?
Yeah, so let me put it this way. It's a great question. How did I end up working with T. Harv Eker, who's one of the leading coaches, trainers in the world? His
Right.
courses, his programs are just amazing. And what happened was that I had some adversity, some challenges before I even did that. So what happened was
Oh,
I was working my business, and I'd been working hard in that business, and I had 2 business partners who joined me later on, and one was going to be responsible for sales and marketing. So I thought, okay, I can just oversee the business. They can do that. And then the other one who joined, and they were friends, joined was became head of operations in terms of he was Microsoft computer network qualified. He knew everything about computer solution installations. So we'll sell these services, we'll sell internet services, all this kind of stuff, and he'll organize it to be installed. Well, after a couple of years, the salesperson, the sales and marketing guy said he doesn't want to do this anymore. Now, where's the
Oh,
source? Where's the leads? Where's the source of, where's the close? Where's the sales going to come from? So then I've jumped into that role, trying to make that work. And I don't live in the area. I live at 1.5 hours away, but they both lived in that area. And that's why we located the office there. And then not too long after that, the operations guy disappears.
oh,
Disappears. I'm phoning, he's not answering. I knock on his door. It seemed like he was avoiding me. And what I didn't know until I discovered later, they had pilfered and created a bit of a financial mess, which I didn't realize it was too late. So now that burden is on me. So I'm borrowing
right.
now. I'm borrowing money on credit cards. I'm getting loans to make sure I pay these creditors. I can pay my staff. And so I was stressed. I was stressed, working, like 17, 18, 19 hours days with little sleep. I was stressed. And at the time, Rayson, I'd only been married for a few short years. And my wife, I wasn't seeing much of her because I'm always working. We have one child, Tiana, who I'm not seeing much of. And now my wife's pregnant with our second child.
Oh,
She's
wow.
pregnant with our second child, and I've got all this mess going on. And it was stressing me out so much so my doctor said, you've got to take it easy. Your blood pressure is rising and all the rest of it. And so what happened was one evening driving back home, 5 minutes from my home, I stopped my car in this shopping lot, car park, in this car park, shopping mall car park. And I sat there with my hands on the wheels going through this breakdown, thinking that I'm such a failure in a sense. How did I get here where it looks like I'm going to lose my business? I'm going to lose my income. My wife's, we're not getting on very well. It's a mess. And that evening, when I got home, it was all a blur, but I realized that I started thinking, how do successful people have success? How do they create success? What do they do? Because certainly something I don't know in terms of the mess that I've created for myself, and I felt like a failure. And the answer came to me was, I've got to study this. I've got to study how people become successful in business, in life, have better relationships, have more happiness. And so that's what I did. I went on the journey of just learning from wherever I could, reading books, going to workshops, seminars. And one of the seminars I came across was T.R. Becker's Millionaire Mind Intensive, right? And so I flew and that's how that came about. I flew from London and I went to Los Angeles, again, borrowed money on credit cards to go to that event. But that event changed my life in terms of suddenly I became aware of what money really is, what wealth really is, how our mind tricks us and sometimes often holds us back from creating a life that we really want. And I learned that. And in less than 2 years, was able to fix that business. And then I sold that business. And it was that event I was introduced to TRV. I did all these programs, and it was in 2009. So after I've done those programs, I sold my business. I started teaching and training people in business and in life. That's what I was doing. And then years after, probably 4 or 5 years after, when Harv Eker came to London for the very first time, I went to just crew and volunteer and help out. And I volunteered for a few of his events. And the owners of Success Resources, Richard Tan and Veronica Tan, who are now friends of mine, introduced me to Harv. I mean, I knew Harv, but he didn't know who I was, right? But I was always a giver, giving. And so then after that introduction, I started traveling around the world with T.R. Eker, assisting him in his, he'll do something on stage. I'll continue on the stage. I'll do a bit more. And eventually he stopped doing stage work and he said, Mac, would you like to teach my material? And guess what my answer was?
Yes.
Yes, Rayson. Why? Because it changed my life. And so that's how that came about.
Wow, awesome. Wow, this is amazing. I mean, when you are really down in the rut, it doesn't mean you'll be stuck there forever, because once you have an epiphany and you realize that, hey, this is what I want to do and this is what I want to understand more, and that is where you actually take that leap of faith and go and discover your true self, your ability on how you can earn more money and success and relationships, especially when at that point of time, I'm pretty sure your wife would have been really upset with you, very frustrated, disappointed, and wanted to even, I believe she even wanted to leave at that point of time.
Absolutely,
Right?
absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah, it was
Wow.
a mess. I mean, when I think about those days, I want to cry because it was such a mess that I didn't even. If it wasn't for the courses and the coaches and the trainers that helped me, I'll be in a bad situation now. I think.
Yeah, totally. I feel you, man. Um, th- then Mac, other than your business adversity of people leaving their vocation, like your operations guy, your marketing guy left you during that period of time. Can you tell us more on like what has been your biggest challenge or adversity in business besides that?
Yeah, I mean, that incident was a pivotal point for me, and it was the biggest adversity for me in a sense that I got to a place where I was now over 100,000 US dollars in debt.
Oh
Yeah, yeah. I mean, imagine $100,000
gosh.
in debt. Sometimes I got to think: do I put £5 of petrol in, £10 of petrol in, just to get by? Do I, how am I going to, helping with my shopping for food for the house? And luckily enough, my wife was working at the time, but she's working part time now because of the new baby coming on. So
Right.
for me, it's a time that my health was deteriorating. I'm getting tired because I'm not sleeping much. I'm stressed out. I'm over 100,000 US dollars in debt. My relationship with my wife is a mess. That's been my lowest point. And I know some people have had worse than that, but somehow with God's grace, I was able to pivot out of that. Some, if you want to call them angels, came to my help and rescue, if you want to put it that way.
Right.
So for me, that was that was a financial and life mess.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure, a lot of times, many people who are tuning in right now, they will be thinking that, man, if my mess was not as bad as yours, then, wow, I'm able to come out of that rut and really, improve my life and start to do what you have done, which is going through courses, reading books, and all. And speaking of books, right, Meg, can you tell us like what are 1 to 3 books that have greatly influenced your life?
Excellent. 2 or 3 books that have greatly influenced my life. I think when I was going through my financial mess and I came across Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, that suddenly opened my eyes as to, oh, I'm working hard in my business. Were you telling me that if I acquire assets and those assets cash flow and it covers all my expenses, I don't have to work as hard? And that concept was new to me because all I knew up to then was work hard, work hard, work hard, work hard. But me working hard wasn't working. The other book that changed my life was a book that was on my dad's bookshelf that I had seen but I never read. But it was a book called How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Oh, love that.
Right. And
Right.
sometimes you can have things in your face. You can see it all the time. Every time I go to my dad's house, I see it and never ever think, okay, let me pick this up and do something with this. So that's one of the books that helped me. There's been so many, Rayson. So that, and I think the other one was Think and Grow Rich. Think and
Oh,
Grow
that's
Rich.
a great classic.
Napoleon Hill. So
Yeah.
again, reading that book, say, okay, who do I need to be? Who do I need to surround myself with in order to create the success I want? So those are probably 2 or 3. And then obviously later on, you see, when I went to Millionaire Mind Intensive, this was 2004. T.R. Vecker hadn't written a book called this The Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. He hadn't written that book yet. He was
Oh,
writing
okay.
that came a year after 2005, right? 2005, 2006. So
Yes, right.
yeah, he did the courses before he actually published a book. But that's another
Oh,
great book.
okay. Oh yeah, Secrets of Million. Wow, that is a really great book. I would say that is a really life-changing book for a lot of us. I would say because it taught us a lot on how to save money, how to allocate our funds into different jars or piggy
Yeah,
banks or whatever we call it. Yeah,
that's
I really love it. I really love the books that you have mentioned. I'm pretty sure those of you who are tuning in, you should also go and check these books out. They are really
mm,
fabulous. Okay, and uh, Mac, I would like to ask you, like, as you have, I'm pretty sure while you are building your business up and all, you would have met a lot of mentors in a
mm,
sense, right? So
yeah.
can you share with us, like, what's the best piece of advice you have ever received from your mentor?
Oh, okay. Like you said, I've had many mentors, and I'll tell you this, Race, on that some of the mentors I've met physically and they've helped me and I've spoken to them, they advise me. People like Robert Kiyosaki, people like Les Brown, people like Blair Singer, there's been so many. Brian Tracy, I've met physically and they've mentored me, which is great. And there have been many mentors that I've never met, but I've read their books, I listen to their podcasts, I listen in because I feel they are talking to me. But one of the biggest personal advice I got, which was more around success. And when my mentor said this to me, and he didn't say it in these exact words, but this is how I interpreted it. And basically, what he was saying is, in every situation, turn up at 100% and give everything. Show up, yeah. So show up at 100% and give everything. Because what would happen was previously to that, whenever I was involved in the project, I would heartedly do it. Any project, I wouldn't show up 100% to give my all. But if you see me on stage, which you have raced on, it's like, I maybe just landed in Singapore, maybe I haven't slept, but still, I've got to show up at 100% as if I've had a full night's sleep and I'm full of energy, ready to give everything. So that's something that I took into all aspects of business, into my relationships with my wife. When I'm there with my wife, I'm there with my wife. I'm present. When I'm there with my kids, I'm there with my kids. There were previously to that, I could be there in the same room as my wife, but be distracted on all these other things that I needed to do. So whether it's family, whether it's kids, whether it's business, whether it's clients, whether it's suppliers, show up 100% and give everything. That's helped me in money, in wealth creation, in buying, in acquiring wealth. It's helped me in lots of different ways.
Wow. Yeah, I agree with you on that. I mean, excuse me. I
Sure.
used to, I used to like be like you, not be 100% in front of um like family or friends or whosoever because of so many things that I'm doing. But as I'm listening to this and based on past experiences, I realized that yeah, it's true. We got to be 100% focused when we are with our partners or with our business partners or friends because if you're distracted, then all the more you can't get things done. All the more you will prolong the period of doing certain things that you've
Mm,
always wanted to do with your partners or with your associates as well and things like that. So I totally agree with you that we got to be there 100% and be focused in whatever we do. Yeah. And
absolutely.
Mac, now to the main focus of the interview. What do you, I read somewhere that you actually spoke about building a business for wealth. So can you
Mm.
share with us more on what you mean by that?
Awesome. That's a great question. You see, years ago, when I started my business, and like most small business owners, when they start their business, they build in it just for income, right? You know, majority of small businesses started those businesses so they can pay their bills. They don't have to work somewhere else, and that's fine. But there is a big difference between building a business designed for just income, so you can get by, and creating a business designed for wealth. Now, what's the big difference? Well, the one designed for purely income means that you have to work your butt off every day, be there, do it. And if you are not there, no money's coming into the business and you don't get paid. So I'd say that's building the business just for income. Smart business owners know that there is another way where if you structure your business the right way, and instead of just going for income, you can structure it in a way that whether you are there or not, and whether you want to work in it or not, things can still operate if you set it up the right way. And there are certain, and mostly around hiring the right team members to follow the systems that you're going to develop. So there's two main things: the systems and the support mechanism, and the team who are going to follow those systems. Now, if you can get this right, then you have two things. You have a business design for wealth. That means it's operating without you. And also you have the other thing, which is freedom. And the freedom simply means that if you want to start a charity or a foundation or another business, you can do that because you've structured your business the right way. So that's what I mean by creating a business for wealth. And there are 6 key components, if I can share it very quickly, that must be in place in order for you to have a business designed for wealth. You know, I've got free quizzes online that people can take around that to see where they are. Now, the first thing is you have to, and your team have to be able to know how to market effectively. In other words, the right branding and the right lead generation. The second thing is those leads, someone has got to convert those leads. So you and your team have to know how to sell authentically, how to sell correctly, so that cash flow is generated in the business. The third thing is that once you have cash flow, money coming into the system, instead of you working on your own, trying to figure everything out, you have to now structure a team. And there is a way of structuring and hiring the right people to fulfill specific roles. And most people don't do that. They just ask their friend or their family member to help them. No, that's the wrong way. There are specific things that these team members must be doing for your organization to grow. The fourth area is, I mentioned already, systems. What are the systems and processes that must be documented, that team members can follow? The fifth thing is finance. The management of business money, the money going out, the money coming in. How do we manage all that and stay on track? Because if it's not managed, it leads to bankruptcy at some point. The sixth and the most important thing is the attitude and mindset of the business owner. If that business owner, that entrepreneur, doesn't have the right mindset and attitude in terms of growing a business or scaling a business, it's not going to happen. So these are the 6 key components that must be mastered. And in our programs and our boot camps, we teach all of that.
Nice. Yeah, I agree with you on that, which some of the things will be covered here in a short while. But speaking of which, you're talking about the mindset, right? I'm pretty sure, having that mindset of being a multi-millionaire mindset or whatever that we were being taught via seminars, books, and all. How can we maintain that mindset in a sense where even when we have adversity, we'll still think that, oh, I'm going to be wealthy. I can go through this kind of bad piece of disharmony and whatever not in that during that business year, for example.
So ask the question again. What are you said? What is the what?
So what is the mindset that
Okay.
all these entrepreneurs can actually have in order to go through that hurdle, especially that kind of mindset where, hey, I'm
get it.
still wealthy. I don't care whether I'm gonna go bankrupt again. I still can climb back up again, in a sense. That kind of
Yeah,
mindset.
yeah. I think the key word here, and when I look at my own background, and look, even my situation where I am, where financially very successful, and I'm very happy about that. I feel very blessed.
Right.
I still have challenges. I still have bigger challenges. I've some business challenges here. But the key word throughout my whole journey that I've got to learn is the word resilience. The word
Yeah.
resilience. So so it's all a practice every single day to deliver your best, give 100% or give more. But knowing that when those challenges come up, which they will, by the way, which they will, I don't care who you are, you can say, okay, I'm not going to run a business and I'm just going to watch Netflix all day. I'm telling you, when you lose your job or when the government makes some kind of decision, it's going to affect you. And you could be owning your
Yes.
own business and decide not to do certain things you're not supposed to do. But resilience for me has come from a place of whether you know or not, I've been practicing martial arts for over 40 years. Over 40 years, I've been practicing martial arts. I
Yes.
started as a teenager, young teenager. And my teacher now for the last 23 years or so is Grandmaster Trevor Nichols. And one of the reasons why I practiced Taekwondo for the last 23 years. I've practiced many styles before that. But one thing I've realized is that with a martial arts practice, it's about perseverance. It's about never giving up. It's about keep going, even if you have nothing left. And so,
Right.
and I think that helped me in my business transition in terms of when I was failing and things weren't going right. I think I was looking for an answer. I wasn't going to give up, or even if my brain was telling me this is too much and I'm a failure. It happens. It happens in martial arts that someone might hit you in the face and now you're on the floor. Are you going to give up for the rest of your life? Right? So get up and go and do something. And I think for all entrepreneurs or for anyone listening in here, it's about how do I become resilient to the adversities and challenges that come up. And the only way to do that is to practice and practice and practice. And any eventuality, just practice, because by practicing, you actually can now overcome bigger and bigger and bigger things, and you become more resourceful rather than just giving up.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. So for those of you who are tuning in, make sure you practice resiliency and keep practicing it regardless of whatever that you're doing. Just practice and you will actually be able to overcome, like how Mac has overcame so many obstacles in his life. All right.
Mm.
And I would like to ask you, right, Mac, what are the biggest mistakes business owners make when it comes to wealth and overall freedom?
Yeah. What are the biggest mistakes that business owners make? One of the biggest mistakes, if you see, if an entrepreneur says, I want to build this business for wealth, long-term wealth as an asset, that will also give me freedom. That's a totally different mindset to someone who just builds their business and they're working in it and they can't see the wood for the trees. And every day they're doing that for 20 years, 30 years, 40, 50 years. So the
Right.
biggest mistake is not thinking as a true entrepreneur. A true business. Okay, so let me make it simple. A lot of your audience will understand Robert Kiyosaki's work in the Cash Flow Quadrant book. He talks about 4 mindsets in business. He talks about the
Right.
employee mindset, and the employee just wants to exchange their time for money, get paid at the end of the month, they're happy. The self-employed mindset, who they everything that has to happen in the business, they have to be involved, and if they're not there, they don't get paid. Then there's the big
Right.
business or brand mindset. And the big business and brand mindset is I'm growing this business. I'm going to scale this business. I can't do it alone. I'm going to need a team. I'm going to need the right systems in order to be able to do that. Then there's the investor mindset that I'm just going to invest in these assets for return of my investment to get cash flow.
Right.
So in answer to your question, the biggest mistakes that some business owners make is they don't decide that they want to build a business for wealth. It's a decision you have to make. And when you make that decision, you'll also start getting challenges in as you move towards having more wealth and having more freedom for your business, because it's a different type of business.
Okay, makes sense. Okay, okay. Well, I'm pretty sure when we are actually making this I would say decisions to be a business owner, self-employed, or even investor. It's not easy because not many of us are trained to have this kind of uh, business or investor mindset, right?
Mm.
In a sense, yeah. So how did you actually inculcate such mindset for yourself? Was it just through books, seminars, and then after that, okay, I make a decision, I'm gonna do this, and then you just keep doing, or you actually had someone to be there with you and guide you through this whole trajectory towards your own success, in a sense?
All of the above, right? Plus,
Right.
plus
Okay.
more. So, when I was broken, I was struggling, Rayson, I wasn't going to any seminars. I wasn't going to any workshops. I thought I knew it all, right? And if I knew it
Okay.
all,
Yep.
why was I failing if I knew it all, right? And so
Right.
since I was able to turn my situation around, my life, my business around because of what I was studying, I made a commitment just to continue studying. So yes, I still go to seminars, I go to workshops. I have coaches who coach me in what I'm doing, so I do things the right way, or at least move in the right way. So so in answer to your question, for me, it's don't stop learning. Constantly learn, because when you learn, you can apply. And sorry, you can apply. When you apply, you
Yep.
can then grow.
Yep, totally agree with you on that. So for those of you who are tuning in, remember not to give up on learning, because when you stop learning, you're stopping your growth. So you got to keep learning and also at the same time keep growing and keep applying. And I would say have a trial and error, like how Mac has actually trial and error along his way towards where he is right now. And then you will be able to find that fulfillment and that success in wealth and freedom that you always wanted. And Mac, I would like to ask you, right? As a business, many times people would want to actually grow their business, and some would even want to scale it to another level. So can you tell us, like, what's the biggest difference between growth and scaling for business owners?
Oh, okay, great question. So there is some people use both words interchangeably, but they are two different words. There is a big difference
Okay.
between growth and scale. I mean, they are two different things. And typically, when someone's trying to grow their business, especially small businesses, what happens is that the speed at which their sales revenues grow is also the speed as which their expenses grow with it, right? Which can be
Right.
dangerous. So imagine you're trying to grow. So you spend a lot of on marketing. You hire some people to help you out, and you've got salespeople on the phone. They are closing. You've increased your sales, but at the same time, but because of other things you've put in place, you've also increased your expenses. Now, that's okay as long as you're profitable, okay? But at some
Right.
point, when you've got a right team in place, when you've got the right systems and processes in place, then once all that is in place, everything is really, how do we now scale this business? In other words, grow this business without incurring more costs.
Mm.
And often, sometimes it's going to take technology. Sometimes it's going to take some other kind of system that says, hey, this is what we do. And you get a flood of these clients coming in so that you're not spending more and more on marketing. Well, sometimes it's a piece of technology where you don't need so many people on customer service because AI can answer those questions, for example. So scaling means growing exponentially without necessarily growing your expenses exponentially as well.
Okay, got it, got it. Yeah. Wow, that would be a tough one. Yeah. I mean, like to grow your business and then not growing with your expenses in a sense.
Yeah. So give you an example. Give an
Right.
example. You could have someone who starts a small company. So they've started a small company and they start making, they grow the business. And we've helped clients do this, grow their business from 200,000 to 500,000 to more than, to say now they're at 1 million. But now to move from 1 million to 10 million, which we've helped some clients do, it's not about necessarily now growing your exponential. If you want to go from 1 million to 10 million, 10 times, we don't want to 10 times our expenses. So now we've got to say,
True.
okay, are our systems correct? Do we have the right technology? Do we have the right setup, the right structure, and move to 10 million? Now, one of the stumbling points might be we don't have enough capital to scale. So now
Right.
we're going to look for an investor. An investor is going to invest into this business to a tune of 1 million. We're going to use it for specifically to improving what we already have. And suddenly we can now start moving rapidly with that cash injection towards 10 million and above.
Okay. Yeah. Makes sense. Okay. Oh, that is a good move, I would say, to actually do that for your business,
Yeah.
and yeah, okay. Well, I'm pretty sure those of you who are tuning in, you must be pretty intrigued and thinking like, hey, what is the system that Mac has? And for those of you who want to get to know more later on, you can actually check out on the caption in his website. You can actually go and find out what are the system that he's teaching, and probably you guys can also get him to coach you and coach you to grow your business and grow your wealth and your freedom as well. And Mac, I would like to ask you, right, because way back you actually mentioned that in your team, in your business back then, you actually had sales guy, marketing guy, and in a sense, and speaking of that, right, I'd like to ask you, what's the difference between sales and marketing, and why does it matter for business owners?
Oh, wow. Yeah. Again, some people think marketing is sales and sales is marketing. Now,
Right.
to make it very, very clear, very simple, the marketing's job or the marketing person's role is to attract qualified prospects, people who like the sound, look look looks like they like what you have. So we attract them into the business to say, hey, have a conversation with us. We can help you. So it's just attracting the prospects. They're maybe not ready to buy, but they have an intrigue. And then the salesperson's job is to convert them into a paying client. So marketing has got to do a good and effective job. And the essence of, if I can break it down, it's like if I'm marketing, if anyone's marketing, it's really, if you can get these three things right, you're on the right path. Hey, I know you have this problem. Guess what? I have this solution. And I've helped all these other people with this solution. I think I can help you. Sometimes people don't know they have that problem until you mention it, right? Maybe it's keeping them up
Right.
at night. Maybe it's inconvenient. Maybe it's stressing them out. Maybe they didn't even know there was a solution for this. And
Mm-hmm.
so now they're intrigued. Oh, tell me more. Now, sales role is to tell them a bit more detail, and then offer them that product or that service to say, hey, you're going to use this and you're going to enjoy it and it's going to really help you. So there is a big difference between someone can be very good at marketing, but if the sales part, the conversion part, we call it, is not good, there is no cash flow coming in. So they work
Yeah.
synergistically, but they are two separate functions, but some people marry into the same function. But I don't care if you marry it into the same function, as long as that it spits out money for you and revenue, that's all we're interested in. But they are separate functions. One is about attraction, and the other one's about converting into paying clients.
Yep, I agree. Especially marketing is always attracting them to come because you have your one page sheet, for example, or even like a video ad on YouTube and things like that, and people will get drawn to it. And those who are drawn to it, they'll be attracted to the marketing, and then poop, that's where they go to your sales funnel, and that's where you sell them your products and services, and that's where you actually get hooked to it, and tada, open your check or even your wallet, and that's where we earn the money in cents, right?
Absolutely,
So
absolutely. Well
okay,
put. Well put.
okay, cool. And I'd like to ask you, right, when it comes to sales, a lot of times most people hate selling, or at least shy away from it. So can business owners just let someone else do the selling for them?
The I think it's important for small business owners to learn how to sell. Um,
Right.
and and as I said earlier on as well, once you've learned how to sell, and because essentially when you start your business, you're the person selling anyway. Some can do it well, some can't do it very well. But if you can learn how to do it, and as you now begin to grow or scale your business, you're going to make sure your team are following the process that you put in place. And if you can't sell at all, you don't even feel like selling, then you can always hire someone who can sell. But again, get them to create a process that all the other salespeople can also follow. So
Mhm.
it's important to learn how to sell. And also, some people don't like selling because they've had bad experiences of sales or salespeople, which is ingrained in their psychology, in their subconscious, and they think that's how selling is. But think about this: selling is all you're doing is telling something about giving someone stuff or information or knowledge or product or service that's going to help them. That's all you're doing, and you're asking them to pay you for that. And so, for example, you go and see the latest movie in the cinema, and you love it. Now you love it so much, you're telling everybody about it. You're telling everybody about it, and that's marketing. But essentially, because you're telling everybody about it, are you shy about that? No, you're not shy about it. But often when it
Right.
comes to your own business, oh, they might think I'm boasting or I'm trying to sell them something. Well, if they go to the movie and they enjoy it, you're going to have a long conversation and you're going to build even more rapport and friendship. And same as
Right.
your product. If you tell them about it and it heals them or it provides that convenience instead of the inconvenience and it helps them to have a better life, they are going to send you a testimonial and tell other people about it. So I say to people, take a breath and instead of thinking you're selling, think I'm helping. I'm going to
Right.
help them. I'm going to help this person. And for my help in helping them and directing them the right way, I tell them, for that service, it's only this amount to help you to get what exactly you want. I'm going to help them, not sell them. And that should quieten the little voice down a little bit.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. So for those of you who are afraid of selling, don't don't be bothered by the word selling, because you are actually helping them, helping your clients, helping your potential clients with service and products that they are going to pay you for. So yeah,
Exactly.
I love it, Mac. I really love it. And I'd like to ask you, do you have a simple selling process which anyone can use no matter what business they are in?
Yes, indeed. Thanks for that question. I do have a process. We teach this in my boot camp and we teach this in our online programs. But
Right.
essentially, yeah, without boring people, what you want to do is the first step is you want to identify which group of people have a problem that you can help them with. In
Right.
marketing
Okay.
terms, they call it find your niche, find your audience. But there's a group of people who need help. They need your help. That's the first thing you've got to do. The second thing is you've got to find a way to approach them and tell them and remind them they've got a problem and find out a bit more about them. We call that fact finding. So as you do the fact finding, if I'm speaking to Rayson and I know Rayson fits into that audience, and now I know Rayson has that problem, I'm going to want to learn a bit more about Rayson. Tell me about this. Tell me about your home life, your business. Tell me about so I can understand that. And once I've understood that, what's going to happen is I'm going to present to Rayson a bit about my background and some social proof, some testimonials of how I've helped other people, and just the psychology of going through that process and doing that authentically. By the way, you're not there. I didn't say now just tell them the product, tell them the price. I didn't say that. I said, number one, find out if they fit your audience. Number two, understand them. Number three is now you're going to present something to them, and that might be 30 seconds, 1 minute, 1 hour. It doesn't matter, depending on the sales situation. Number four, they are then going to say, yes, I like it, or no, it's not for me. And when they say yes, now you can go to step number five, which we call closing and converting. But at step number four, if they say no, most people don't know what to do. So in our program, we teach people how to turn no's into a yes. If somebody said, no, I can't afford it, and they don't always say no, they say, I can't afford it, it's too much money, it's too expensive, I don't have the time. How do you turn that into a place where they say yes? And so number five is close. Number six is to follow up with them to make sure that you've done the job that you said you're going to do, and they are satisfied and they are happy. So in my boot camps, we go deep into all of these areas, and we get our clients to practice it. I know I rushed in it for 1 minute, but yeah, there's more to it.
Yeah, definitely more to it. So, well, your boot camp, may I know, like, when is it, the upcoming one? So
Yeah,
probably
sure.
those who are tuning in, they can actually check it out as well.
Excellent. Our next Business Accelerator Bootcamp, that is in October. So it's the 27th to the 29th of October. So if you go to my website, macattram.com, if you click on events, you'll see the Business Accelerator Bootcamp there. And, we're running a special offer there at the moment. So if that's of interest, make sure you register, come along and learn more over a 3-day period where I go deep into it. It's virtual, so you don't have to travel. But if you want to improve your business, grow your business, yeah, it's virtual. So, because we've got clients all over the world. So that's why it's virtual.
Okay, I understand. Okay, cool. And just want to ask you, right, for this question, I find that, a lot of times we see a lot of business owners spending a lot of time on unnecessary stuff, in a sense. So, Mac, where do you see is the most wasted amount of time spent on a business in general by business owners?
Oh, good question. I mean, the biggest, as you attempt to grow or scale your business, what happens is this: either you're working on your own and you're trying to do everything and so you're not delegating to anyone, and you're working too hard. If that's the case, if you're trying to grow your business and it's just you, it's hard. The second type of business owner we see are the people who've got, they've listened, they've put a team together, cash flow is very nice, but now that business owner is micromanaging the employees. What are you doing at this 1 hour? Are you going to, and they're micromanaging, which is the wrong way to do it. You've got to set the context for those employees and structure for them to know what is the KPI or the results we're trying to achieve, rather than you micromanaging every day and you're not really running a business. You've just created another job. So those are the two biggest things. The third thing is not managing money well, not financially, not managing the finances. You've got to keep an eye on that daily, weekly, in order to know, to keep an eye on your cash flow. Because we know when cash dries up, that the business is in trouble.
Yeah, right. I agree with you on that. So when you say about, business owners spending so much time on this finances, in a sense, right? So does it mean that they have to hire someone to manage their finances rather than they themselves managing it?
Absolutely. So as a business owner, you have to be in a position to. At the beginning, you might do your bookkeeping, but eventually hire a bookkeeper, then hire a professional accountant, and every single week at a minimum, make sure you know what's going on in your bank account, or you're asking for cash flow forecasting or project projections every single month. Make sure you know the key numbers for your business, balance sheet, as well as income statement, profit and loss. Every single month you must do that. And we teach people in our MBA program how to manage their money in business and actually scale their business. That's one of the programs we run actually.
Okay, cool. Wow, Mac, thanks a lot for so many value bombs that we've dropped. And as we are coming to the end of the podcast, I have one last question for you,
Sure.
and that is this. Okay, Mac, imagine this, right? You suddenly lose everything. Okay, your money, your assets, your reputation. So, what will you do from day one to day 30 to save yourself?
That, yeah, what would I do? The biggest thing that's really helped me in the past, I'm at a situation where I know my value and I know my worth and I know what I'm good at and I know what I'm not so good at. So how would I create my wealth all back? How would I create my income all back? One of the key things I would do is I would surround myself with like-minded people. Environment is so key. Why?
Yeah,
Because those people can actually open doors to other places for me. So relationships and joint ventures has worked for me greatly. Number two, before I even did that, I'll sit down and get absolute clarity. How much money do I need coming in at the end of these 30 days? And then I'll break it down into smaller chunks. Okay, what do I need to do this week? What do I need to do today, each day? And so once I have that clarity, I will surround myself with the right people. And then I will just follow the strategy in order, whatever it is, in order to, as I said, find the right clients, offer them a service, sell, meet people and actually offer them something of value that they need. Because if you offer people something they don't need, they're not going to pay you. But if you identify the
right.
problem they have and give them that value and you say, this is how much it is, you're going to make a lot more money. That's what I
Okay,
would do on that.
so okay, cool. So that means you will be starting your own business again. You will start something like a product, I mean like knowledge product or things like that to actually sell again, or you will be looking at what they need in terms of finances that they need somebody to upkeep or whatever, bookkeeping and all, then you offer this kind of services to them in a sense. Am I right to say that?
Yeah, whatever. Yeah. So for me, depending on the circumstances and the marketplace and what is happening, because
Right.
something may happen, some catastrophe has happened. So it may mean I can't do this business anymore. I can't do that business anymore. So then I've got to sit down and think, okay, what is the need and what's the need in the marketplace? This group of people, they've got this problem. Okay, what if I work out a way that they don't have that problem anymore? So now I've got to create something, or I've got to go and buy something and then offer it to them and say, you've got this problem. When you use this, you won't have that problem anymore. And if you follow this, you won't have that. And so when they buy it and they buy it in quantity, now I'm back in business. But what most people do, they come up with an idea. They want to sell this, sell this, sell that. But to who? And what problems does it solve? Most people don't know what the problem it solves, and they don't know who's got the problem. And so they go round and around and trying to sell something, and they start hating it, and they think this is not working. But what we teach is that follow a process and a system, which we have, which makes all this much easier. So that's what I would do.
Oh wow, okay, awesome. Oh wow, okay, understand. Well, so for those of you who are tuning in, well, I would say that you got to remember, okay, that building an empire of wealth through your business is a journey that requires dedication, hard work, and perseverance, like what Mac has went through. And you got to stay committed to your vision, and with time, your efforts can lead to the realization of your entrepreneurial dreams. So success may not come overnight, but with the right strategy and mindset, which if for those of you are interested, you can actually learn from Mac and go to his website and check that out as well. All right, so you can actually build an empire that stands the test of time, like how Mac and so many other great entrepreneurs have actually done that. Okay, so Mac, I would like to thank you once again for so much of the value bombs that we've dropped in this podcast as well. And for those of you who are tuning in, thank you so much for supporting the podcast as well. Really appreciate you guys from all over the world. Grateful that we have impacted 80 countries from around the world already, and we are looking forward to impact more lives with amazing guests like Mac himself. So with that, take good care of yourself and have a great evening or great morning, whichever place you're in. All right. See you and bye bye.